Teddy Riley took like $18 million of my money. I don't give a you feel me? Because I love his kids and his mother and his, and his brother and everything like that, and his sister and everything like that.
So, Teddy Riley never forgave other members of Guy after the issues he had with them. There were just too many controversies, from internal disagreements on creative differences to even physical confrontations in public, especially between Teddy and Aaron Hall.
There's many altercations, but the real altercation, because I used to always say, man, we don't need to be fighting, man. If y'all gonna fight, I don't want to be a part of this.
In fact, it was why some members Timmy Gatlin even left early, especially after they found out their management was stealing their money.
We did make that song, and Aaron Hall, his publishing was stolen by Gene Griffin.
Okay.
And I'm setting the record straight.
So, how did such a well-loved group become so chaotic? So much that they even had a serious clash with New Edition. Was that the drama that eventually led to their split?
It was crazy because I was puzzled. Like, he came in, gave me a pound, gave me a hug. He's like, I'm done, I'm out, good luck. I was like, what?
There's a lot more to unpack, so let's dive in. Back in the day, Teddy Riley and his group, Guy, were doing very well. They had big dreams and were working hard on their music. People loved their songs, and they wanted to make even better music. But things started going bad when their manager, Gene Griffin, started making problems. Teddy said this trouble began when they were trying to make their next album. The group was not as happy as before, and things didn't feel right. Aaron Hall, who was one of the main singers in Guy, had his own problems. He told Teddy that he didn't want to sing anymore, but the real reason was that he didn't want to sing while Gene Griffin was still their manager. He said, "I'm not singing unless we are on our own." This made things harder for the group. Teddy was trying to hold everyone together, but the stress was too much. They were not working as a team anymore.
No, he wanted to, but he was like, I'm not singing anymore unless we are on our own.
After that, Guy joined a big tour with another famous group called New Edition. At that time, both groups had a lot of fans. People were excited to see them perform together. But from the beginning, there were problems. Teddy said that the tour was supposed to be fair for both groups. Gene, the manager, said it had to be equal. If not, they would not do the tour. The person who helped set up the tour, Al Heyman, agreed that both groups would share the spotlight. That way, no group would be bigger than the other.
Gene wasn't taking nothing less, so he was like, listen, we're going to make this thing equal, or we ain't doing this at all. Okay. Gene talked to everybody like that.
The first show of the tour was in Hartford, Connecticut. Right away, there was an argument. The two groups didn't know who should go on stage first. After a lot of talk, they made a plan. If the show was in a city where Guy had more fans, they would perform last. If it was a city where New Edition had more fans, then New Edition would go last. It seemed like a fair deal, but even with that, there was still a lot of tension. Some people were not happy.
Okay, so we're going to do it this way. The cities where Guy have the popular demand is the cities that Guy will go on last. The cities where New Edition have the popular demand, they will go on last.
Teddy said he looked up to New Edition. They were famous before Guy. He respected them and didn't want to fight. He said he didn't care who went on stage last. He just wanted to have fun and perform for the fans. But some people in Guy, like Aaron, Damien, Gene, and Timmy, wanted to be the best. They wanted to show they were just as big as New Edition. Teddy was more peaceful. He believed their music should speak for them. The fighting didn't stop. There were problems behind the stage. The people who worked with the groups started fighting too. Stage crews and other workers didn't get along. At the very first concert, there was already drama. It wasn't just the singers causing problems. The crew members were also part of the trouble. They argued about lights, music setups, and space. It became a mess. At that time, Bobby Brown had already left New Edition. He was doing his own thing. Johnny Gill had joined the group and was doing well. The tension kept growing as the tour went on. Show after show, the problems got worse. Teddy said they had many shows where people almost started fighting. There were loud arguments about who could use what equipment, who got more time, and who had more space. It was no longer about the music. It felt like a war backstage. He said that after a show, they went back to the hotel. Everyone was confused because something bad had happened, but they didn't know what it was yet. They got something to eat and planned to leave early the next day. But someone overslept, so they left later than planned. When they got to Pittsburgh, things felt strange right away. As soon as they pulled up to the hotel in Pittsburgh, they saw fire trucks, ambulances, and many police cars.
Next thing you know, we seen fire trucks, ambulance, police, many cars. We couldn't even get into the hotel. They took us around the back.
They couldn't even go through the front entrance. The hotel staff told them to go around the back. Teddy's brother Sifu said something serious had happened. Sifu and another friend, Abdul Mu, wanted to check it out. One of their other brothers told the security guards, take Teddy and the others straight to their rooms. He said Gene, their boss, sent that message. Gene didn't want the guys near the media because reporters were all around asking questions. Teddy and his group went to their rooms and turned on the TV. That's when they saw the terrible news. Teddy's best friend, Anthony B., was killed. He got shot by someone who worked with New Edition. Teddy was heartbroken. He called Anthony B. more than just a friend. He was like a brother to him. It hurt Teddy deeply to hear that he was gone.
We turned on the TV, and we seen on the news that my best friend got killed.
Anthony B.
Anthony B. Yeah.
Teddy explained that Anthony B. wasn't with them at first. He had been in Harlem. But when he heard something was going on with Teddy, he rushed to join him. Anthony came with a few other guys from Harlem, including their friend Vaughn. They packed one car with all their things. Teddy said the car had a lot of stuff inside, including weapons. It was Anthony B. who drove the car. Teddy also mentioned another man named Mike Floyd. He was part of their group too. Teddy didn't give all the details, but when they arrived at the hotel, they later found out from the news that Anthony B. was shot in the back 4 times. It happened right at the revolving doors of the Marriott Hotel. The shooter was from New Edition's team. The news said it clearly, and Teddy was in shock. Let's talk about the interdynamics between the group Guy, Teddy Riley, and Aaron Hall. Even though they worked well in the beginning, things started to go wrong between them. The problem started because Teddy had more and more control over the music. He made most of the decisions. Aaron didn't like that. He felt like his voice and ideas didn't matter anymore. He thought the group was becoming all about Teddy. This made Aaron upset. He wanted to feel like an important part of the group too. Over time, this caused tension between them. They started arguing. It got hard to record songs and perform together. Later, Aaron Hall went on a show with Bishop Don Magic Wand. In that interview, Aaron said many wild things.
Just grabbed her and tell you the same story. I just grabbed her and for 3 days, then Aaron's got on a foot with an apostrophe S.
Yeah.
Like it's Aaron.
I mean,
with
it was
3
like,
colors on it.
yeah, crazy.
He talked about himself in ways that made people uncomfortable. He also said bad things about Teddy Riley. He said Teddy didn't respect him.
Teddy Riley took like $18 million of my money. I don't give a you feel me? Because I love his kids and his mother and his, and his brother and everything like that, and his sister and everything like that.
He made it clear he was still angry about what happened in the past. He called Teddy names and didn't hold back his feelings. It shocked a lot of people who watched the show. He talked about things that made some people feel uncomfortable.
When you bitch for 3 days and take hand and take him out of the man's hand, then you are a retired pimp.
Yeah.
He said He didn't care what others thought. He bragged about things he did in public. He said famous people like Jamie Foxx and Denzel Washington had seen him in those moments. He was proud of it. Many thought he was doing it for attention.
A whole lot of out there, from Jamie Foxx to like Denzel Washington to whoever. Everybody know me.
Yeah.
So everybody know if I say it, I'm a to death.
Teddy later spoke about all this. He said he still loved Aaron like a brother, but he also said things needed to change if they were going to work together again. Teddy said they were older now, and they needed to act better. He said they should be setting an example, not causing drama. He didn't want to go back to the old problems. Teddy also said he lived a quiet life now. He liked being in his studio and working on music alone. He didn't want to come out of his private space unless it was really worth it. He said he wasn't going to go back to touring if things were still the same. He made it clear he would walk away if the same problems came up again. Aaron and Teddy did reunite a few times. They tried to perform together again, but every time, the old problems came back. Teddy said Aaron would go back to his wild ways. He would talk about money, being a pimp, and living a flashy life. Teddy said he had changed. He didn't want to live like that anymore. He wanted peace. Even though Teddy and Aaron were close once, things were never the same again. The tension between them was too deep. Teddy wanted respect and quiet. Aaron wanted to live loud and free. Their paths went in different directions. Fans of the group were sad, but they understood. Let's rewind back a little further still. Back in the late 1980s, the music group Guy was just starting. The group had 3 members at the beginning: Teddy, Aaron, and Timmy Gatlin. They were young, full of talent, and excited about their future. But even though things looked good on the outside, trouble was already happening behind the scenes. Timmy left the group before the first album was even finished. Why did he leave? There were many reasons, but the main one was because of problems between the group members. Teddy often found himself stuck in the middle when Aaron and Timmy didn't get along.
There's many altercations, but the real altercation, because I used to always say, man, we don't need to be fighting, man. If y'all gonna fight, I don't want to be a part of this.
They argued a lot, sometimes about music, sometimes about who was better with women. They even had physical fights. Teddy would try to calm them down. He didn't like fighting and told them, if y'all keep fighting, I don't want to be a part of this. Sometimes they listened, but not always. One day, in the middle of recording a song called You Can Call Me Crazy, Timmy just quit. It happened so fast. He walked in, hugged Teddy, and said, "I'm done. I'm out. Good luck." Then he walked out the door. Teddy was shocked. He looked at Aaron, then at Gene Griffin, their manager. No one said much. Aaron seemed happy but stayed quiet. Gene was a tough man, and no one wanted to make him angry.
I was puzzled. Like, he came in, gave me a pound, gave me a hug. He's like, I'm done. I'm out. Good luck. I was like, what?
After Timmy left, the group had to figure out what to do. They needed a new member. Aaron said he had someone in mind, his younger brother, Damian Hall. Aaron traveled to Virginia to talk to Damian, who was still in college. Damian came to New York and visited the studio. He saw Teddy working on music and was impressed. He said, "Yo, who is this dude making all these beats?" Teddy and Damian clicked right away. The group had problems not just with each other, but with their manager, Gene Griffin. Teddy later said that Gene took money from them. Even though Guy became very popular, Teddy said they didn't get paid what they deserved. He said they made about $2 million, but he only got $400,000. That didn't seem fair. Teddy filed a lawsuit for $6 million against Gene for this. He felt betrayed.
We did make that song, and Aaron Hall, his publishing was stolen by Gene Griffin.
Okay.
And I'm setting the record straight.
The money problems hurt the group deeply. When people don't trust each other, it's hard to work together. Teddy said Gene was very controlling. He didn't just manage the group. He controlled the money, the music, and even how they lived. This made the members feel trapped. They wanted more say in their careers and music, but Gene didn't give them that freedom. Over time, these pressures made it hard for the group to stay together. Tours were stressful. They had problems with fans, with people they worked with, and even with safety. All of this made things worse between them. The members started to feel like they needed to take control of their own lives. That's why Timmy left. That's why Teddy later took legal action. Everyone wanted peace, freedom, and fairness. Teddy shared a scary story from his past. He used to work in a studio on the rooftop of a building. It was owned by a man named Gusto. Teddy wasn't into the street life, but he worked with people who were connected to it.
Gusto had a problem with some street guys, because Gusto used to be the street guy. He was like king of New York, the new young king of New York, and he was doing it, never got problem, never got busted.
Almost every week there were shootouts around the rooftop area, but Teddy said he was never part of it. He stayed upstairs in the studio and kept making music. Gusto had built that studio just for him. Teddy said he didn't skate like others on the rooftop. He liked to go forward in life, not backward. One day, Gusto told Teddy he had something special for him. A few days later, Teddy got to work in the new studio with his music partners, including a man named Greg G. Sadly, Greg is no longer alive. They all worked together making beats. Gusto helped by buying all the equipment they needed. Teddy worked on songs with artists like Heavy D and Kool Moe Dee. Everything was going well until one day, things took a dark turn. They had just finished working on a beat for Kool Moe Dee when they stepped out of the studio. Suddenly, a group of men showed up with guns. These weren't small guns. They had big weapons like AKs and .45s. The men told everyone to get on the ground. They pointed guns at their heads. It was a terrifying moment. Teddy and his friends didn't know what was going to happen next.
And they had us get on the ground. They had AKs and 45s and had guns to our heads, and one by one, everybody get on the ground.
Timmy walked out and saw what was going on. He asked what was happening. One of the gunmen hit him in the head with a gun. Timmy's ear started bleeding badly. The men didn't even let him wipe the blood. Everyone was scared, lying on the ground, not moving. Teddy said he was praying silently, trying to stay calm. The gunmen said they were looking for one man. They believed he owed them money. They brought that man upstairs and said if they didn't get the money, they would kill everyone. Gusto told them, "You don't want these people. You want the money. I'll take you to it." So Gusto left with the gunmen, and they locked Teddy and the others in a bathroom.
When they brought him upstairs, he's like, if he don't give us the money, we killing everybody in here. Gusto's like, they don't want, y'all don't want them. Y'all want me. Y'all want the money? I'm gonna take y'all where the money is at.
Inside the bathroom were Teddy, Lavabra, Timmy, Money G, and Greg G. Kool Moe Dee had already gone home earlier, so he missed the chaos. While locked in, they stayed quiet and still, thinking one of the gunmen might still be outside. They didn't hear anything for a while, so they stayed put. Then, the janitor named Mike lifted the gate and came upstairs. Teddy and the others called out, asking who it was. Mike said, "It's just me." They were finally safe to come out. Gusto had been taken to his house. The gunman also tried to hurt his mother and his wife, but Gusto told them, "Let them go. You want me." He gave them the money by opening the safe. But Gusto had a smart plan. While the men were distracted with the money, he stepped back, jumped out of a window, and ran away. A few weeks later, those gunmen disappeared. More trouble came when Guy got connected with Murder Inc. Records. Murder Inc. was run by a man named Irv Gotti.
So anybody who called me, they would call me when he would leave the office and say, "Yo, 50's over with interest in Simon." I said, "You him, you ain't with me." I hated on him to where he landed with M and Dre.
He worked with many artists and made hit songs. But the label got into legal trouble. The government started looking into them for possible crimes. These included money laundering and working with people from organized crime. Even though Guy was not directly involved in the crimes, just being connected with the label hurt their image. People began to see the group in a different way. This connection made it harder for them to grow their career because some fans and people in the music business didn't want to be involved with anything that looked shady. As the group kept making music, some people started to complain about how they used the New Jack Swing style. Guy was one of the first groups to use this sound, and they made it popular. But some fans and critics said the group was just making money from the style, without giving enough credit to the culture it came from. They felt that Guy was not helping the movement grow, but only taking from it. This kind of talk hurt their name, especially since music is not just about sound, it's about culture and respect too. On top of all these things, there were also money problems inside the group. Some producers and other workers said they were not paid for their work. There were reports of unpaid royalties, which means money that should have gone to the people who helped with the music. These types of problems caused a lot of stress and made it hard for the group to trust each other. When people don't get paid for their work, they usually don't want to work together again. This caused a lot of bad feelings in the music industry, and many people didn't want to work with Guy anymore. Their name got a bad reputation in the business world, not just among fans. So even though Guy made good music and had many fans, they faced a lot of trouble behind the scenes. From members leaving, legal problems with record labels, people talking bad about their style, and money issues, the group had a rough time. All these things added up and hurt the group badly. It showed that even when a group looks strong on the outside, there can be many problems on the inside. And sometimes, those problems are too big to fix. In 2009, Teddy and the Hall brothers, Aaron and Damien, came back together. They reunited at the BET Awards that year. They performed their old song, I Like, as part of a medley celebrating the New Jack Swing style. Fans were excited to see them back on stage together after many years. In March 2010, Teddy Riley said in an interview that he was no longer part of Guy. He told this to a music writer from the UK. But a few months later, in October 2010, Riley returned and performed with the group again. Sadly, the reunion did not last long. Some group members said Riley did not share the money from royalties properly. This caused problems between them again. On January 16, 2011, Aaron and Damien performed without Teddy at the BET Honors Show in Washington, D.C. They sang popular Guy songs like Let's Chill and Groove Me. The crowd loved it, and people talked about the performance on Twitter when it aired in February. A few days later, on February 17, 2011, the brothers performed again on a Black History Month TV show. In 2013, Teddy said he was back with the group. He planned to work with both Guy and Blackstreet, but that did not last either. Aaron Hall later said Riley left the group again. In August 2014, Teddy posted on Instagram that he was back with the Hall brothers. He said they were working on a website and planning a tour,